So how do you handle returns with high-ticket dropshipping? Hey guys, my name's Trevor Fenner. I'm with eCommerce Paradise. I'm out here in Seattle right now in a chilly afternoon day in the forest here at a park. But I wanted to make a video to help you guys understand the return process with high-ticket dropshipping, because I think it's something that really throws a lot of people off when they're first getting started. And if you've started a store, but you've just barely kind of gotten some traction and then you get a big refund, it can be really big bummer, and it can kind of eat into your cash flow and be a really big pain in the butt. So hopefully this video will help you. If you're interested in checking out any of our services, we have a turnkey done for you service, which is a complete store build and launch service. And we also have a monthly management service where we do a full service management, streamlining, outsourcing and scaling service for you. Go check that out, ecommerceparadise.com/turnkey and /management. All right, so let's get into it. The return process is pretty simple. The main thing with high-ticket dropshipping is that you're going to be using your supplier's return policies as your return policy. So when you're building your store out, the first thing you do is you take your supplier's return policy from their website, or you get it from them, and you're going to put that on your return policy page in a particular section for that supplier. And then at the very top of your return policy page, you have a table of contents, and each link will be a brand, and then that can go down to that section of the return policy for that particular supplier. Every supplier's return policy is different. Some of them have restocking fees, some of them don't. Some of them, create custom products and don't accept any returns. Some of them create, totally normal generic style products that can easily be returned. Some of them, create these products that you have to take them out and set them up in order to even use them in the first place. And there's all different reasons for returns. There's returns for people that, well, maybe they bought the wrong product, or they received a product that they thought was something else, and it's not, and then they want to return it. There's lots of different reasons. Maybe it's a damaged upon delivery, shipping damage issue, or maybe it's a warranty issue. Maybe the product has some problem with it. Maybe they just want to get an upgrade or something else. So you just really have to work with the suppliers. It's all about going back and forth between the customer and the supplier to find a solution to whatever their problem is. And it really just depends on the customer's needs. Some customers you have to be careful about because they can be very delicate when it comes to their finances. So if you perceive that your customer is quite worried about the money involved, you can just right up front, right off the bat, say that, no matter what happens, we're going to take care of you. Amazon always does that. If you ever return something with Amazon, they just give you right away like the terms of the return. And most of the time they just offer free returns. For high ticket products, of course, it's going to be more expensive to ship them usually because they're big products. So you can't always offer free returns. Oftentimes suppliers will have return policies that include the customer having to cover the cost of return shipping plus a restocking fee. Sometimes they'll even have the customer cover the cost of the initial shipping fee because the supplier offers free shipping, and they cover the cost of that in the beginning. So it really depends. Like if it's the customer's fault, then yeah, they're going to end up having to pay return shipping costs and a restocking fee. If it's the supplier's fault, in other words, if there's product damage or something's wrong with the product, then yeah, there's going to definitely be some back and forth there. Hopefully the supplier is willing to either provide a free return label and free return shipping, or or they're going to either reduce or remove the restocking fee in its entirety. But you really just have to work with the supplier. Every supplier is different. Customer service agents are different with suppliers. Sometimes with suppliers you're going to work directly with the owners or the managers. Sometimes you're going to be working with the team. It really depends on the person over there. I've had suppliers everywhere from like completely taking care of the customer and the dealer no matter what, to completely not caring at all about the dealer. And then it kind of makes or breaks your relationship with suppliers too, because in the long run, if you have a supplier where they have best-selling products, you want to make sure the supplier is going to take care of your returns for you and help you with that, because you're providing them with the service of marketing, advertising, customer service, and taking the risk of payment processing off their hands. They need to provide you with the service of managing returns and warranty issues in a timely and cost-effective manner so that you don't get completely blown out of the water. Because if your margins are like 20-30%, which is pretty normal, and a return costs you a bunch of money because the customer files a chargeback, and then something else happens, or maybe you have to end up eating the return shipping costs, there goes all your margins, plus you have a cash flow issue in the meantime. And it really depends on the price of the product too, as to how much of an issue it is, and how much cash reserves you have or capital reserves you have in order to cover the cost of returns, because the average order value with high ticket dropshipping is somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. So if you only have a little bit of capital reserves and you're bootstrapping your business, that can be a big problem. So you usually want to get into high ticket dropshipping with at least a $10,000 to $20,000 worth of capital reserves, so that you can cover cash flow issues, and not go temporarily insolvent, having to deal with banks clawing back funds due to chargebacks and stuff like that. So it's a good idea. Now, another possibility is if you don't have as much money for capital reserves as possible, as is recommended, that you could start with a more mid-ticket product instead of like a $2,000, $5,000 niche. Start with maybe a $500 to $1,000 product, or maybe even down to like $300, $400, because the products are generally going to have about the same margins. So at least you're working with products that are more manageable, financially, than if it was like a big expensive product. I'll give you an example, like a massage chair. Upwards of like $3,000 to $10,000, these things, and they're huge and cost a lot of money to ship. So if you want to start a store selling massage chairs, you have to know what you're getting into, because oftentimes they're electronic products and sometimes they don't work, or the customer's unhappy with them. Maybe they're not all they were cracked up to be on the sales page or the sales video. And the customer, whatever reason, it's either the customer's fault or the supplier's fault, but either way you have the risk because you process the payment. You took the payment, right? So, you get that payment into your account. If there's a problem, the customer can always just file a chargeback, right, with their bank and then complain, and they're going to get the money clawed back right away while the bank goes over it. So it's like guilty before proven innocent. That's the way this stuff works, which kind of sucks as a business owner, but you have to deal with it. So just make sure that you're ready for that. Emotionally, you're ready for that with an SOP. And that's what we do. We have SOPs and a team to manage that. So no matter what happens, we build out an SOP for each thing that can potentially happen. There's a lot of different issues that happen. We have an order processing SOP, a return processing SOP, a chargeback, SOP, and all that stuff. So if you guys want to work with us and my team and have us manage your stores for you, or just build you out a site, launch it, and then manage it for you, you can definitely hit us up. I have a whole team of VAs, and we work with lots of different clients, and so we do this stuff every day. But the main thing is that you're going to be sending a return request to the supplier when you get the request from the customer. You have to analyze it and see if it's the customer's fault or supplier's fault, go back and forth, and then you're going to deal with, basically stick to the return policy. And if the customer wants a replacement product, or if they want a refund, there's going to be a thing there too, because you don't get payment processing fees refunded. Okay, so you have to make sure if the customer wants a refund and it's their fault, that you charge an additional fee, because you usually are going to pay around 3% plus or minus, depending on how they paid, if they want a refund, right? Instead of a return product. Now, usually suppliers will do things like they'll reduce the restocking fee or remove it entirely if they just can ship out a new product to the customer. But if the customer just wants a refund, they're going to charge a restocking fee and all this stuff usually, even if there was a product issue, and it's not the customer's fault. So you just got to be talking to the customers and let them know, and be kind and supportive, because a lot of times customers will get really upset in the short term because they think they have a financial loss. So you have to assure them that you're going to do the best to take care of them that you can, and there's not going to be a financial loss. But customers can get crazy and stuff like that. And really the bottom line is, whenever customers get crazy, you just got to take care of them, because the worst thing that can happen is that the customer, even if it's like a small problem, will go online to different review sites and report your site or leave you negative reviews online. And it's a pain in the butt to cover those up. We do that for our clients though. And the best way to manage negative reviews online is just to flood your review sites with positive reviews from people that aren't necessarily your customers, that are just people like friends and family, or a team that you work with, or an agency like us. We can flood your review sites with positive reviews. And although it's just something that you have to do in order to maintain your stuff looking good, because people will look you up online sometimes before they buy you. And if you have like negative reviews and you have like a BBB profile that has complaints on it that are unresolved and stuff like that, they're going to take that into consideration. Usually every negative review is going to have a reason for it. Oftentimes the customer is just upset, and that's why they leave it, and it's not for a valid reason. So you can have those taken down sometimes if it's not valid. And then also you should just respond to it and say, this is what happened, because if it's unresponded, it looks a lot worse than if you responded to it and you took responsibility. You just want to be like a trustworthy business, and do things that make you a trustworthy individual as a business owner. So definitely just process returns according to suppliers' return policies. Hopefully customers won't file chargebacks. I've had it where like even the customer agrees to it, later on they file a chargeback anyways, and you just have to fight it. Responding to chargebacks is pretty easy. All you have to do is, send a letter, send all the proof, the conversations like via email. That's why I like to, respond and keep communication in email, because it's kind of like proof of the customer accepting our terms. And then, tracking numbers and proof of delivery and all that stuff. Sometimes packages like aren't delivered, or like they say they're delivered, but they weren't delivered. Stuff can result in chargebacks too. And then the supplier has to file a claim with the shipping company in that case, because they shipped it, or if you shipped it, if you provided the return shipping label and all that, like if you're using freight or something, then you'll have to file that, and it can take months to get those resolved. So it is what it is. But you just make sure, if you're doing this yourself, build SOPs, have SOPs to follow so you can follow them, and then hire and have a team member follow that SOP for you. As your business scales, you're going to deal with this kind of stuff more and more. It just is what it is. That's what every retail business deals with, and you just have to have standard operating procedures for it, just like any business. and just do your best to take care of customers. I think at the end of the day, that's the main thing. Customer always comes first. They're the reason why you're in business. So just take care of them. Even if you're out a little bit of money, it's better to keep them, happy. And sometimes they'll even order from you again or refer you to their friends and family because you took care of them, as opposed to not taking care of them and then filing negative reviews and telling everybody terrible things about you. And then, so just do things that take care of the customer. Sometimes you got to look at the customer like they're a child and speak to them like they're a child, because they can get really emotional sometimes. And it is what it is. We all get emotional about money, right? So keep that in mind when you're dealing with returns, guys. I hope this video was helpful. If you are interested in us having a turnkey done for you store, definitely go check out our services. You can book a call directly with me. You can call me directly at 206-504-6099. You can email me, trevor@ecommerceparadise.com. The website is ecommerceparadise.com/turnkey for the done for you service. And we also provide management and scaling services for stores that are already built out, for businesses that want to streamline and scale their stores but just don't have time for it. That's at ecommerceparadise.com/management. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.